and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we're going to talk about a television series that I don't really hear anyone talking about at all. I've seen maybe one ad for it, and the ad for it was on Kat Dennings' own Instagram page, so I don't know if that truly counts as one. But the show we're going to talk about is a sitcom called Shifting Gears, and this new sitcom stars, as I mentioned, Kat Dennings, Tim Allen, and Sean William Scott. Now, I know that there are some mixed opinions on Tim Allen, but I will have to tell you whether he is a jerk or not, or whether people like him. I grew up watching Tim Allen almost every single day. I watched him on Home Improvement, which I guess would be once a week because the show, I think, all of the shows were on once a week back then. But I loved Home Improvement, and I absolutely loved Tim Allen in that show. It was just something that was very reminiscent of my childhood, I guess. So when I heard that he was doing another television show, I'd heard some rumblings that he wanted to bring Home Improvement back in the now, I guess. But I do know that there are some difficulties with that. I think one of the boys on the show is now in prison. I think the wife has been pretty active about saying that she did not want to come back and do it again. And I mean the wife in the show, or the actress who played the wife in the show, says that she is not interested in doing it. And so I kind of figured Tim Allen was not going to come back and necessarily do anything, that we could watch. And then I saw Shifting Gears. And at the time, and this is kind of why this video is a little bit delayed, I think, is that there was only one episode. So this one, very much like Home Improvement, is bringing out pretty much an episode a week. And I really wanted to be able to speak on more than just one episode of a television sitcom. So I waited. There are now 3 episodes of this show that have come out. And I have to tell you guys, I really like this television series. It reminds me a lot of Home Improvement in a lot of ways. Obviously the characters are completely different. In Shifting Gears, Tim Allen plays a widowed father who is running a sort of classic car garage. So he's fixing up classic cars, which points, you get me right out of the gate with classic cars. And then he has his daughter, Kat Dennings, who as a teenager ran away with someone that he didn't like. And she is back now because she is getting a divorce and has 2 children and needs somewhere to stay. And they have this tumultuous relationship where they don't get along. And that is very humorous between the 2 of them. So I really enjoy the dynamic between the father and daughter aspect of this. I enjoy all of the characters in this. I think her children specifically don't have a ton of on-screen action, but I do think that Jay Leno is meant to make a cameo appearance in this show, because I've seen sort of a screenshot that shows Tim Allen and Jay Leno together in his garage. So I would imagine that's happening sometime later in the series, because it has not happened in the first 3 episodes as of yet. And I do know that Jenna Elfman is supposed to also be in this show, but I have not seen her yet either. But Sean William Scott is just a character that plays a role inside of his garage. He essentially is one of the mechanics. There is another mechanic played by Daryl Mitchell, who I also really like. It's just a very good, very reminiscent of Home Improvement. And by that, I mean just those sort of silly sitcoms that we used to have back in the 80s and 90s, like Harry and the Hendersons or Alf or Home Improvement. You'll know what I'm talking about if you lived through it. And this sitcom very much reminds me of a lot of that stuff, like Family Ties era, and so I'm very much enjoying watching this one. It's going to come down to whether or not you like Tim Allen, because I know some people are just very adamant against him, and that's okay. If you are not a fan of Tim Allen's, then this is definitely not going to be a show for you. But if you just are looking for something that is silly, very lighthearted, and is just like an older style of sitcom show, then I would definitely check out Shifting Gears, because I am thoroughly enjoying myself. So those are my thoughts around shifting gears. I would love to know what you guys have thought of this sitcom if you have seen it. Subscribe to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.